The door, please. Good morning, guys. I hope y'all are doing okay so far. Now we're going to take a look at some definitions and figure out what adding and subtracting rational expressions look like. Remember, last week we already know how to multiply and divide. So we should know what rational expressions are, what they look like. I'll mention it briefly. It's just anytime we're dealing with fractions, and rational expressions are going to be fractions that have variables and numbers as opposed to just a fraction that has a number. Daniel, please. Okay, another thing we need to remember is that adding and subtracting, let me put this in a different color. Add and subtract have their own rules. Okay. Completely different from multiplying and subtracting. And the biggest rule, or let me zoom back out. There we go. A little bit smaller. The biggest rule is that we must have, let me put like a lot of stars. We must have a common denominator. This is the number one most important rule. That's a key, not enough. What does that mean? Well, let's take a look at some examples. 1/2 plus 1/2. The denominator must be the same. In both terms, if you have more than one term, all the terms have to have the same denominator. If they do not have the same denominator, then we have to find a common denominator. We can still add them, but we need to find the common denominator first. So let me show you both of these examples in how do we add rational expressions. Okay, this is what they look like. I'm going to show you how to solve them next. First, we need to make sure there is a common denominator. Add the numerators, then the denominator stays the same. So let me show you with this first example. 1/2 plus 1/2. Well, what's the first thing? Is there a common denominator? Yes, 2 and 2. They're the same number, so they're common. Then we need to add the numerators. The numerators are the numbers on the top. Okay, numerator on top, denominator on bottom. 1 plus 1, and the denominator stays the same. Let me write it a little bit different. One plus 1 is 2, over 2 is the same as 1. Okay, let's take a look at example number 2. This one is not common denominator. Okay, we do not have a common denominator. We have 1/2 plus 3/4 equals what? Well, here's what we need to do. We need to figure out what number does 2 and 4 go into evenly? Okay, well, 2 goes into 4 and 4 also goes into 4. So let me rewrite that down here. So our common denominator is going to be 4. I'm going to write that first. The first term, in order to get 4, I need to multiply 2 times 2. And because I multiplied 2 times 2, I also need to multiply the top times 2. And on the second term, 3/4, I didn't do anything. It stays exactly the same because it's the denominator is already 4. So now what does that look like? 2, that equals 2 over 4 plus 3/4. Now we have a common denominator. It's both 4. 2 plus 3, and the denominator stays the same. 2 plus 3 is 5 over 4. And that's it. Those are 2 examples. I will show you how to subtract rationals, and then you're going to do some practice problems on Wednesday. Okay. For now, this is all the notes. We're going to do the notes a little bit different today, so I need you guys to practice with that. Okay, that's it for today, guys.